A few years ago, Mazda entered a new chapter in their very successful history with the release of this, the Mazda MX-30, and despite its critics, this car could be deemed as one of the most stylish electric cars on the market and makes for a perfect low-cost runaround. Yes, the Mazda MX-30 really captures Mazda's aura with that sleek exterior and the very upmarket interior. In this video, we're going to delve deeper into this EV to talk about range, talk about performance and specs. But first, if you want to see more car reviews from the latest cars in the market, then subscribe to the Holcroft YouTube channel. And to find your next car, then head to the Holcroft website. Now, if you are aware of Mazda and their cars, then you know what they are about, and the Mazda MX-30 really captures that Mazda spirit. The way this car's been engineered, it's been thought out, gives that premium feel. I mean, it has that signature Kodo design with the front grille and design of the LED headlights. I just want to do something. If I just do that, actually, it's probably easier if I do this. The rest of the car, you can tell it's Mazda. It has that signature Mazda look. It's sleek, it's stylish. The whole exterior of this car is quite crossover style. Now, the MX-30 is deemed as an SUV, but looking at it, it don't really seem like one. And one really important reason as to why, at the side of the Mazda MX-30, first let's talk about design and shape, because I mentioned before about this car being an SUV, but crossover style. And you get that in essence, you know, the whole stance of this car feels quite sporty. It sits low to the ground, not really tall. Because it's a top spec, you get that contrasting paint and the rear privacy glass. And I also like the fact that it comes with that contrasting paint on the wing mirrors, just makes it overall more stylish. But that's not the point that I come here to make. The point that I come here to make is, where's the rear door handle? There isn't one. Now, I know what you're thinking, is the car broke? The car is definitely not broke, let me tell you that. This is a Mazda, this shows true car craftsmanship. No. The reason why is because of the design of the doors. Now, Mazda named these freestyle doors, and the way the rear door opens is you have to open the front door like so. Now, you might be thinking, well, you can't actually open the back door unless the front one's open. That's my only slight quarry, but the fact is, these style doors, you see them in the car market, but they're more reserved for the upper echelons, for a car just over the £30,000 mark. To have this style doors, it feels stylish, it feels very premium. So personally, I'm a fan of this. Now, I mentioned about this car being just over the £30,000 mark, which brings me on to my next point. The specs and cost of the MX-30. Now, Mazda have recently revamped the spec levels with new names, the lowest spec being called Prime line, starting just over the £30,000 mark, with the exclusive line being next, and then Makoto tops the scales at just over the £30,000 mark. What is nice to know about this EV is the fact that smartphone connectivity and Mazda's radar cruise control both come as standard, along with many other safety features which we'll come on to later in the video. The main difference as you go up the specs mainly rely on comfort and stylistic features, including that contrasting paint as I mentioned before, and also some other features like heated seats, 360 parking cameras. There is also a fourth and final spec that's called Edition R. Now, this is only available in the hybrid version of the MX-30, labelled MX-30 REV. Now, the reason it is called Edition R is quite interesting because of its use of the rotary engine which Mazda have brought back. But you won't find a rotary engine round here, because what you have under the bonnet is a 35.5 kilowatt hour lithium-ion battery. Now, this can charge from 20 to 80% in as little as 25 minutes using a 50 kilowatt fast charger. Now, you can actually use a 2.4 kilowatt charger that connects to a standard 3-pin plug and get the same amount of charge in 9 hours. Now, you're probably thinking 9 hours is a very long recharge time. However, when you get it from work, when you get in from your travels, etc., plug it in and it'll be able to charge overnight. I mentioned in the intro about this car making a perfect low-cost runaround, and this car is perfect for those who do small commutes to work. And that is because the MX-30 has a recorded electric mile range of 124, but when it comes to real world, you're probably more looking at about 100 mile mark. So if you are someone who just needs a car for a short commute to work or to nip to the shops, then this is the perfect car, because if you're not going to exceed that 100 mile mark, then simply just plug it in using that 3-pin charger. So it means you're not going to have to fork out for them electric home chargers. You're not going to have to rely on the public charging network. You get in, plug it in, and it'll charge overnight. Pretty simple. So this is a very practical car for if you are just needing a short commute. And it's a car that provides a very pleasant driving experience. Because of the way Mazda have designed this car, if you are familiar with Mazda cars, then you know that driving experience is at the forefront of their plans. If you have a look across their range, then they have an abundance of cars that provide a really good driving experience, and the MX-30 is that. Because of the way Mazda have engineered the MX-30, it has a near 50-50 weight distribution, which means that when you're going around corners, when you're driving along A roads, etc., it just seems to glide. And obviously with this being an EV, you do get that instant torque. 0-60 time of 9.7 seconds isn't the quickest, but like I said, because it's an EV, you do get pretty good acceleration off the mark. So this car can drive with ease. It's a very pleasant driving experience, obviously with the help of how clear the infotainment screen is. The fact that you have that dial rather than touchscreens makes it so much more accessible on your average day-to-day commute. You know, then nice added extras like heated seats, heated steering wheels, then it makes for a very pleasant journey. And for the fact it's a pleasant driving experience, you also get peace of mind. The MX-30 comes with an 8-year battery warranty or 100,000 miles depending which comes sooner. So if you do own an MX-30, then you aren't really going to be worried about using a public charging network. You aren't going to be worried about having to fork out for a home EV charger. Just use that 3-pin socket. And the fact that it comes with that 8-year warranty means in the grand scheme of things, it's a very cheap car to run. And not only is it a cheap car to run, it's a very safe car to drive. It scored the maximum 5-star safety Euro NCAP safety rating and also 91% and 87% in the respective adult and child occupant category. And the reasoning for how high them scores are is for the amount of driving safety features that come pretty much all as standard, which include that adaptive cruise control, which include the lane keep assistant, the emergency lane departure warning, and also stuff like blind spot monitoring and 360 parking cameras, the hill start assist, emergency braking. It's a very safe car, it's a very pleasant journey, and it's very cheap to run. Also has head-up display which can integrate your built-in navigation. So overall, it's a really nice driving experience. The high specs of the MX-30 also include the Bose sound speaker system. So you get plenty of tech inside the car. And there's plenty of tech outside the car too, because one really handy tool when it comes to owning the MX-30 is the My Mazda app. Now this can help you keep track of your charging status, the battery, and also search for nearby charging stations. You can also adjust the climate controls before you set off the journey, so if you need to heat up, cool it down, you can do that with ease. And tools like that just really add to the whole premium feel of this car. A premium feel which is really felt when you step inside this car, because it's very unique looking. You've got to admit, there's not really many cars that has cork in the center console. You might think it might be a bit strange, but I just think as to the whole feel of this car feels unique, but in essence, like I mentioned at the start of the video, feels very Mazda. It feels premium, it feels very luxurious. I really like the patterns on the seats, you know, the contrasting colours, and also contrasting materials with the leather and also that fabric. Your center console seems at first, but will say, a bit clunky. So the fact that it's quite high up and it dips down and you have more storage under there, but after driving it, it's very useful because this, you can easily rest your hand on when changing climate controls. I do like the fact you have a separate screen for your climate controls. You don't have to faff about with this. It's right there. And you also have buttons at the side if you don't want to use the touch screen. It is a very simple system to use, and it also includes your heated steering wheel and your heated seats. There's plenty of storage as well. You have some under here. This armrest also moves depending where you want to put it. You also have the 2 cup holders which are protected by cork, which almost seem like little coasters. It's quite a nice touch. You have a decent amount of storage under here and also in your door cards. The driver's display when you first get in seems like an old-fashioned because you have 3, you know, old-school dials. However, the middle one is actually a 7-inch TFT screen and can be changed to see adaptive cruise control, your different information, etc, etc. Steering wheel, it's just typical Mazda, the fact that before that well, leather-wrapped, adds that premium feel. Also includes all your adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist settings. Overall, it's a good interior for car. It stands out from the crowd whilst also being signature Mazda. Is that the same in the back? Yes and no. Yes, because it's still the same style seats, has that premium feel. I also like that it has that centre armrest with 2 cup holders. It's a decent amount of headroom, all right amount of legroom. I mean, if you do have someone really tall in the front, might be struggled in the back. However, overall, it is nice, has decent amount of storage in door cards, door handle, and a nice bit of privacy glass, so, you know, makes it nice and comfy for a long drive. However, the only thing why I said no to having that premium feel is the fact that I have now inadvertently locked myself in on this side. Because of the fact that you can't open the rear doors without the front one being open, I've now got to try and somehow reach across. However, that is actually made easier for the fact that on the back of the driver's seat, you can't actually move the seat forward. I could get myself out, but then it's a case of going here, opening there, try and swing that open, and then do that. So if you're trying to do that while you're in a car park or some next to you, you're probably going to hit the car next to it. That's my only slight quarry. But overall, it's nice. It's a comfy car. The seats are very comfy and upright. And also, there's lots of space and storage. which can easily be said about the boot space in this car, because the MX-30 comes with 350 litres of boot capacity, which is just enough to do the weekly food shop, to do the airport run, to go on a family road trip, etc, etc. I mentioned earlier on in the video about the charging of the MX-30 and the fact that this can use a 2.4 kilowatt charger, which links up to a 3-pin plug. Now these chargers are, to be honest, necessary when it comes to the MX-30. I mentioned before about who this car really is for, and to be honest, it's for people who do short commutes, who don't really need to exceed 100 miles on a day-to-day. So if you are that type of person, then the MX-30 really could be the car for you.